This is a excerpt that I found while researching the theater.
Yes,
Is this a diary entry I've seen here?
kind of. Yeah,
Or is this like a kind of?
yeah, yeah,
Not sure what it is. Maybe like pulled off as like a short story maybe somebody wrote, but I'm realizing there's too many connections for it to be fiction.
yeah.
All right. From the pen of Wallace Lloyd. It was 1924. Like most of my Saturday nights, I sat at a bar sipping a scotch, no ice. I'd been there for nearly an hour before I noticed the woman walk in. She was dressed in all black, a dress with a light, thin coat draped over her shoulders and a wide-brimmed floppy hat that sat on her head. I never saw her speak. She flagged the bartender, and he got her a drink as if they knew each other. I should say, I frequently attended this establishment, and I'd never seen this woman before. She took her drink and sipped it slowly as she watched the crowd. 20 minutes must have passed before she left the bar, and I had noticed that she set her eyes on a man. A tall, handsome fellow, if I say so myself. I thought she was keen on him and approached to ask him to dance, but in a swift moment she dropped the coat that had been revealing, or rather covering, thick, long, slimy tentacles which protruded from the small of her back. They unfoiled from a coiled up position they had sat in. Two of them lashed towards the man, impaling his abdomen as blood sprayed in her direction. The other four tentacles whipped through the air, flashing and knocking at anyone close by. In a second, the man's body dropped to the floor with an odd thud, as if it had been hollowed out, and was nothing more than a mannequin. The bar broke out into a panic. People screaming tried to make it to the door, almost trampling over one another. I could only sit and watch, frozen with fear, my body unwilling to move. Her tentacles, grabbing another victim, this time a small dark skinned girl, lifting her up off the ground before dropping her body to the floor a moment later with the same dull, hollow thud. The woman in black head with thrown back eyes closed with a wide smile over her face as her checked chest was soaked with the blood of her two victims. I scrambled and fell from my bar stool, scanning the room for an exit, and I noticed a door that I had never seen before. Given the situation, I didn't think, and just made for the door. As I reached for the handle, I looked back to see the woman's head turn in my direction. Our eyes meet, and she winked at me, sending a chilling shiver down my spine as I opened up the door and stepped through as quickly as I could, almost certain the woman would follow me as I made it to the other side of the threshold. The door was ripped out of my hand and slammed shut. I now stood in a pitch black room as lights above illuminated me, and I found myself in a small theater of all places. A stairwell led down to the stage with a canvas screen, and on either side of the stage were 5 rows of velvet red seating, seemingly very comfortable. And in a moment, though I had not moved, I found myself unknowingly taking one of the seats. The screen lit up, and I saw the woman from inside the bar. She was standing on top of a mountain with a thunderstorm rolling behind her. Lightning flashed in the clouds, and I saw 4 eyes, two, stacked on top of one of the other, and the screen went dark. I don't know how long I sat in this room, but when I finally worked up the courage to leave, the door didn't open to the bar. Instead, I found it opening to my own flat, and when the door slammed shut behind me, I turned to see that it had vanished. Oh, there's more!
Yeah, you said, I think I said you found three, but I only managed to write two.
I will begin reading it. From the pen of Esther Stayer. I was camping with a few friends in the middle of July. That summer, it was warm. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but I'll never forget that night. We all drank quite a bit and decided to go for a late night swim. Ethan and Yasmin wanted to make things interesting, so they suggested we all go skinny dipping. Normally, I wouldn't agree to such a thing, but with Lucas looking so good and the alcohol in me, I agreed. And soon enough, we were naked in the water up to our chest. Yasmin and Ethan were quite enthralled with one another, but Lucas and I decided to play a game of Marco Polo. It was my turn, so I closed my eyes, gave some time, and started calling out, Marco, and Lucas replied Polo. It went on for a few minutes until he had me heading deeper and deeper into the water. And that's when I heard a splash and called out Marco, but got no reply. So I called out again, and still no reply. And then after the third time, I opened my eyes. I looked around, expecting Lucas to surprise and scare me, but he was nowhere to be found. Behind me, Yasmin and Ethan were still wrapped in each other, and I asked them, You didn't see where Lucas went, did you? They barely pulled away from each other and sheepishly shook their heads. At that point, the water behind me started to bubble, and a chill ran up my spine. I started moving towards Yasmin and Ethan as they started to move towards me, and then the three of us stood in the water, awestruck, as the water bubbled in the same way a kettle would on the stove. But without warning, a crab-like claw shot out, and with lightning speed, it grabbed Ethan so quickly that I barely knew what was happening. Yasmin screamed, and the two of us turned to just run. Just as I reached the shoreline, I heard another snap. I looked back to see the monstrous creature. It looked like someone had spliced a crab with a manta ray. 6 legs ending in sharp points carried it out of the water, and its tail whipped back and forth as it stepped. At first, I thought they were just tentacles, but then soon I realized it had human fingers covering the entire of its underbelly. In its one massive claw, it held Yasmin, crushing her until it ripped her in half. And I cried out as I scrambled onto the shore. Directly ahead of me was a large redwood with a door set into the tree. I ran straight for it, and I don't know why I did or how it got there. I just hoped it led somewhere safe. When it made it through the door and it slammed behind me, I found myself in a small theater. Words end there, and the rest of the text is incomprehensible.
Hello everyone, David here. I just wanted to take a moment to give thanks and credit where it's due. To our viewers, we thank you and appreciate any and all support. Doing the show holds a special place in my heart. So, once again, thank you. Now credit is due. Impossibility's outro music, titled Rise of the Dead, was done by my very own brother, Robert Wasney, who can be found on YouTube under Happy Madness, HappyMaddness. All art for the show is done by Kit Bukes, who can be found on Instagram at Kit_catastrophe_art. That's KIT_CATASTROPHE_ART. So again, thank you so much, and we hope you continue to enjoy the show.